Hi, I'm Kevin Owen. Good to see you. First, then, President Putin's been clarifying Russia's position on the Syrian conflict to foreign journalists at an international investment forum in Moscow a bit earlier. Our correspondent Ilya Petrenko is there for us.
Vladimir Putin was speaking at an investment forum, and the moderator even had to point that out to the audience at the Q&A because Syria quickly came up instead of economics. Vladimir Putin addressed the issue of Russia being widely accused by the West for the collapse of the peace process in Syria. In particular, he mentioned the devastation of a UN humanitarian convoy near Aleppo in September.
Russia is now being blamed in all crimes without any proof. Let's just take, for example, the attack on the humanitarian aid convoy. We know who hit it. It was one of the terror organizations on the ground. And we clearly know that the Americans are aware of this as well. But they prefer blaming Russia without proof. That's clearly not what can help the situation. This manner of acting at an international level is called pressuring and blackmailing. But with Russia, that has never worked and never will work.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin also went on to explain Russia's veto at the UN Security Council against the French resolution. He said that when the foreign ministers of Russia and France met last week, certain terms of the French resolution were discussed, and also it was meant to consider Moscow's amendments to it. Well, the Russian president pointed out that instead, Mr. Arrow went straight to Washington after that to talk to John Kerry, and when they both spoke, accusations against Russia were thrown out again, and also the resolution that was put forward at the UN Security Council turned out to be completely different, where essentially everything was blamed on Assad and the Russian army as well. Vladimir Putin believes that it was something that was done on purpose. He called it a blackmail campaign on the highest level by Western officials who, according to Vladimir Putin, by doing so, were only deceiving their own people.
In some ways, it suited everybody for this to be seen as a little bit mysterious and for the blame to be muddied. Now, given all the surveillance technology that there must be over Syria at the moment, it's quite hard to believe that there wasn't very specific knowledge of who did it. But I think that, at least at the time, there was one very compelling reason why the Americans and the British and others preferred to see Russia's hand behind it. And this was the fact that barely 24 hours before, the Americans, helped by the British, had inflicted an airstrike on Syrian government troops. Ever since then, it's been the attack on the convoy that has been blamed for breaking that crucial ceasefire, not the fact that there was this mistaken or otherwise attack on the Syrian government troops.
The US State Department's responded, meantime, to an RT report documenting how terrorists in eastern Aleppo are preventing the civilian population from leaving. We're going to hear Washington's view in a moment, but first, here's a quick reminder of what we found. Our news group managed to film the only flags that can be seen over the east of the city. You've got to really focus on it to see it. Well, that was quite clear. One of them belongs to Jabhat al-Nusra, the other to ISIL. Although Islamic State's not known to be present there, certainly in any great numbers, it looks like their sympathizers at least are. And on top of that, we spoke to many locals who claim they live in constant threat of terrorist sniper fire, day in, day out.
Nowadays, people there, all of them, they are a big jail. These tourist people, they not allow anybody to come here because they think this is a card to play with the government.
Some people do manage to escape, but rebel snipers shoot at them when they see them. They don't allow civilians to leave.
Getting around for us is very hard because we have to use alleys, side streets and holes in walls. It's very sad. We can't use the streets. We can't even send kids to school.
I'm always scared of shells. They destroyed our house there, but we hid in the basement.